Good morning, everyone. Hi, good morning. Today, we are continuing the conversation that we've been having as a church about the tabernacle and Jesus being the gate. So, quick review, and then we'll dive in today. I'm thankful that you're joining me. So, first of all, we are in a brand new study as a church. It's a continuation of being priests, but we're in a brand new study about the tabernacle. There are 7 pieces of important furniture inside of the tabernacle. Each one is symbolic. Each one is, as Hebrews tells us, a foreshadowing of something that allows us to understand who God is and who we are. So Kurt told us that there are 7 pieces of important furniture inside of the tabernacle, each one of us leading us closer and closer and closer to the unquenchable presence of God. And he called them 7 mile markers, so we can do that too. The first mile marker is the one we're talking about all week, and it is the gate. So just a quick couple things, in case anything's cloudy. The gift of teaching has always been something I'm pretty good at, so let me just go back really quickly. What is a tabernacle? A tabernacle is a tent. It's a tent that was set up in the Old Testament way back in Bible times. This is over 3,000, 4,000 years ago. They would set up this tent and they would carry it wherever they traveled. And the tent was off limits to the normal commoner. It was something that only the priests could go. The commoner could come through the gate, but only the priests could go into the inner chambers. Later on, fast forward, Jesus looks at us and calls every believer a priest. So you and I are priests. We now have access into this tent, this tabernacle of God's presence. And so we look on the old tabernacle to understand how our lives today should be. So we are looking back to look forward. The tabernacle first piece of furniture, the mile marker number 1, is the gate. Before you can get into the presence of where God's presence would rest inside the tabernacle, you had to go through the gate. In John 10, Jesus says, I am the gate. He was making it really clear that there's not a lot of ways to get to the presence of God. There's only one. Just like there weren't a lot of ways to get inside of this tabernacle tent. You couldn't go under, you couldn't go over. You had to go through the gate. And Kurt showed us on Sunday that the gate was colorful. It was bright. It was blue and purple and red. You couldn't miss it from afar. You would definitely be able to see it. It's obvious, the cross. It's a symbol that's over every nation, every country. The cross, it's obvious. There's one way to God. Just like there was one way in the tabernacle, through the gate, there's one way to God, the gate, Jesus Christ. Yesterday, Elisa shared a little bit of her story, and she talked about why the day that she walked through the gate. And so I'd like to share some of that with you. We've become family. We've become friends. We've become brothers and sisters. And I think I would like to share a little bit of my story with you today. So I was raised in a Christian home, and probably many of you watching this could say the same. But probably many of you could not say the same. So your story may or may not be similar to mine, and that's the beautiful thing about each person's story. So I was raised in a Christian home, and just like every day gravity was real, every day Jesus was real. So I walked through the gate of believing Jesus was real from the beginning. I actually don't have a moment where I remember thinking, Jesus is real. I think I always believed that. I never strayed from that. So I would say I was born into daily walking through the gate. But different parts of Jesus, different character revealings have become real to me. So I want to share a couple. First of all, Jesus says that he's the bread of life. And this is the understanding that he is my daily bread. He's my daily substance. He is the weight of the cross, his body offered on a cross. This became real to me in elementary school. I was at a camp, and going to camp every year, you always hear messages and stories, and you hear the Bible, it comes to life, you worship along friends, and that was my story. Going to elementary camp, Jesus became the bread of life to me. The weight of the cross became a reality, and I walked through the gate of the reality of that he is the bread of life in elementary. In middle school, I went through a move, and although it was, looking back, one of the best things that we ever did as a family, I have to say that there was a season of my life that was semi-lonely. Now, I had family, I had sisters, but as a teenager, you always feel like you miss your friends. And so Jesus became my friend when I was in 8th grade. He became a companion. He became someone who was real to me as a friend, not just someone who died for my sins or someone who I believed was real, but he became actually a friend to me. I walked through the gate of his friendship when I was in 8th grade. And then when I was in college, I learned that Jesus was my shepherd king. I walked through the gate of him becoming my leader, my shepherd, letting him navigate the paths in which I would take, letting him lead. When I was 26, I went to the country of Panama. And if you've ever heard my testimony before, you probably know this part of my story, but this is when I walked through the gate of the Spirit of God, the Spirit of Jesus. Jesus' Spirit became real to me, and the presence of God filled me like I've never felt before. And the manifestation of who he was began to overflow from who I was. And so I walked through the gate of the Spirit of Jesus when I was 26. And this year, good old 2020, Jesus has become my bridegroom. I have walked through the gate of Jesus being my bridegroom, understanding what it means to have someone who says, I'm with you always, Emmanuel. I am joined to you. He says, I am the vine, you are the branch. That became a reality to me this year. And so I look forward to what will next year and the future, and when I'm 50 and when I'm 70 and when I'm 90, what kind of relationship, what gate I'll be walking through. Because even though we only have to walk through the gate once to go to heaven, to be with God, to believe, it's very simple. I choose to daily walk through the gate of who Jesus reveals himself. And so tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost of walking through the gate. Because when you walk through something, you have to leave something behind. So we're going to talk about the cost tonight. Before that, I'd like to read a little bit of scripture as we go into our secret place. In John 10, this is the ESV. He says, truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, the door, climbs in another way, is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his sheep by name, and he leads them out. Jesus is the gate. If you would like to start today in the secret place, I encourage you to start in John chapter 10. As always, I want to hear your story. That was a little bit of my story. What's your story? Go ahead and send me an email. Tell me your story. When did you walk through the gate? Have you walked through the gate? If you haven't, today is the day. You didn't stumble upon this YouTube video by accident. You were meant to hear this. Today is your day to walk through the gate. Send me a story, send me a text, send me an email. I love hearing from you. I'll see you tonight as we consider the cost of walking through the gate. See you later. Bye.